I never wanted to make another commentary video because the last one I made ended horribly for me. But when I saw the second MrBeast allegations video, the blue snowball mic, it called to me like the Green Goblin mask, man. I didn't have a choice. Coward, we have a new world to conquer. Ladies and gentlemen, it's never been more over than it has now, and the Nothing Ever Happens chart has been ripped to shreds. Because apparently, a registered sex offender participated in a MrBeast challenge. Oh boy. Seriously though, that shouldn't be the only takeaway, so let me just give you the cliff notes. This second video was mainly centered on the testimony of a YouTuber called Weddle, who was in Jimmy Beast's orbit around 6 years ago, same as Marcus if any of you can remember back that far. He added more proof to the file of things we already knew, such as scripting videos, skirting gambling laws, the usual suspects. He also talked about how when he asked for a higher raise, he mentioned that one of his co-workers, a single black dad, was getting paid the exact same amount as him. The company's solution was to fucking fire them. Both of them. Which sounds normal for a business, but when you think about it for a second, what kind of business model pays out money to the homeless and then fucking fires their employees like that? Think on that one for 100 days in a bunker, Jim. Thankfully, after that, most of Weddle's complaints about Jimmy Beast were relatively benign, including but not limited to psychological torture. Apparently, the first time Jimmy John tried to do a solitary confinement video, it was with Weddle, and it ended so badly it got scrapped. Weddle himself described the experience as, quote, deciding which of his senses got to be attacked, which is my favorite line in the whole video. It's a pretty apt description of what it's like to follow all of this shit. In this solitary confinement room, they gave him a hot tub with no filtration, which just made the whole room reek. They gave him an ice cream machine and just let all the dairy seep out, go sour, and made the room even worse. They also didn't turn off the lights, which really doesn't interest me. They do that in all of their isolation/solitary confinement videos. What does interest me is that they didn't tell him that it was part of the challenge. When he complained about it, he was told specifically that they couldn't turn the lights off because they needed time-lapse footage of him sleeping. What the fuck? That's right, for the low price of enduring torture that we don't even put terrorists through, you too can pay off your crippling debt. Don't forget to buy Feastables bars for that chance, you tub of lard. So at this stage, Weddle is clearly not capable of completing this challenge. The footage that he's sending in just makes him look psychotic, and the editors are trying to convince him to quit. And then Jimmy Beast comes up to Weddle in the middle of all of this with a treadmill and says, run a marathon for more money. It sounds like a Meat Canyon skit. He took one look at a man who was very clearly breaking and told him to run a marathon. So of course he does, right? Because what else do you do when you're broke and desperate? Totally 100% not manipulative. Just some good old-fashioned charity porn. No one's taking advantage of anyone. They also politely suggested, that means forced, Weddle to look into one of the cameras and talk about how thankful he was for the money and how he was finally able to pay off his student loans. Oh, damn. And then there's Delaware, who was in fact a MrBeast employee who was affectionately named Delaware because he was prohibited from entering the state of Delaware. Because that's where he acquired his taste for fucking children. Jimmy Beast, why? But it gets better. Delaware participated in a challenge, and what sweet irony it was that it was a solitary confinement challenge. Call to action. Save that video before MrBeast deletes it. So what Weddle's story tells us is that Jimmy Beast chased those sweet analytics off a cliff to a point that was skirting sociopathic. But of course, how can I say such slanderous things when MrBeast has addressed this controversy in the most non-sociopathic way possible, which is deleting comments and sending out cease and desists. Personally, I think it was bound to happen, not just MrBeast getting exposed, but the very corporate, stuffy, bureaucratic response to the allegations, because MrBeast stopped being MrBeast a long time ago. MrBeast is Night Media, dude. It's a corporate entity at this point. That's what you need to remember when you look at YouTubers, especially YouTubers on the front page. Most of them are on the leash of some corporation that they sold their souls to. That's just what happens after you pass a certain point of fame. And it's not just good old Jimmy and the boys, it's a business. And what, boys and girls, have we learned that businessmen like to do when nobody's looking? Cheat, lie, abuse, and most importantly, diddle. They diddle. Also, this video is more entertainment than informative. Wait for evidence. Don't witch hunt. You know the drill.